Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, spoke only 47 words a day. Yet that silence made him one of the strongest leaders in history. But what about you? How many unnecessary words do you waste every day? How many words do you truly use to express yourself? Silence is not the voice of weakness. It is the sound of dominion. It's the language of mastery that echoes across the world. Today, most people believe that talking gives them value, but the strongest among us control everything through silence. Themselves, their thoughts, their emotions, even other people. With silence, they hold the strings of power. We, on the other hand, live in an age that never stops talking. We can't be silent for even a moment. We can't tolerate it. We share, debate, react constantly. But we think less and less. Speaking has become a reflex. Thinking has become a forgotten art. People can no longer exist without words. Every moment of silence feels like unease, because silence whispers something to them. You can't hear your true self. Yet the age of Marcus Aurelius was shaped not by noise, but by silence. The streets of Rome were filled with the sounds of war. But inside the emperor's mind, there was calm, stillness, and peace. He knew true leadership was not built on loud voices, but on deep thought. He who cannot listen to himself cannot understand others. That was his way of life. Marcus discovered the power not of words, but of silence. He became a master of quiet strength. Every day, he wrote a few lines in his journal, then stayed away from words for the rest of the day. He was a warrior protecting his mind from unnecessary speech. And that battle was not against outer enemies, but against the noise within. Today, we are all captives of that noise. We defend ourselves with words, try to prove who we are through comments and explanations, but none of us truly listens. Silence is now seen as weakness. That's the greatest mistake of our time. The loud are noticed, the ones who shout are heard. But when you stay silent, you feel invisible. And that's where the real test begins. The one who can remain calm and rule his thoughts wins. The one who speaks to fill the void loses. When Marcus Aurelius stayed silent, he wasn't alone. He was with himself. Silence was not his prison. It was his laboratory. There, he weighed his thoughts, measured his emotions, and decided what to believe and what to release. He ruled without speaking, because his words gained power through his silence. Our problem today is simple. Silence reminds us of who we really are, and we're afraid to hear that voice. We avoid facing ourselves. So we play music, talk, and hide behind notifications. But the chaos inside never disappears. It only sinks deeper, and it's us who bury it. The Stoics saw silence as a form of training. Every minute spent in silence strengthened the mind. It made them uncheckable. Silence was the first step toward control, because silencing the tongue is the prerequisite to silencing the mind. Marcus understood this long ago. A man's voice doesn't reflect his character. It reflects the noise of his mind. So he chose to pause before speaking, to think before reacting, and to observe before surrendering to anger. Today, you can develop the same power. But first, you must stop and think, not to avoid speaking, but to listen, not to the world, but to yourself, because silence is not an escape. Silence is where mastery begins. For Marcus Aurelius, silence was not an escape. It was a weapon, but not a visible one, a weapon few men could ever wield. It didn't shine like a sword, but it struck deeper than any word, because it cut straight to the soul. Marcus was an emperor who sharpened his thoughts, not his words. Amid wars, betrayals, and decisions that shaped empires, he remained silent, because he knew. True judgment is delivered not through voice, but through awareness. To stay silent before thousands of soldiers and advisors was not cowardice, It was inner sovereignty. The less you speak, the fewer mistakes you make. That was his law. For words can be misunderstood, but silence can never be taken back. To Marcus, silence was meditation. The more he withheld words, the sharper his mind became, the clearer his choices grew. He understood that the greatest enemy of man was not outside, but within his own mind. And silence was the path to face that enemy. We, however, do the opposite. We talk, explain, defend endlessly. And without realizing it, we surrender our minds to the crowd. Silence terrifies us because it removes our masks. When you're silent, you hear your thoughts echo, and that echo often unsettles you. So you speak to drown it out. But with every unnecessary word, you lose a little more strength. True power is being able to stay silent in a noisy crowd. Speaking is easy. The mouth does it. But silence is hard. The mind must do it. Marcus did this instinctively. Even when insulted, his face remained calm, expressionless, because he knew, if someone's voice can shake you, you are still weak. The silent man cannot be destroyed by words, because he knows the power of the voice within. Silence doesn't make you defenseless. It makes you invisible, and the invisible cannot be defeated. How many times have you regretted speaking? And how many times have you found peace in silence? Man does not mature by talking. He matures by staying quiet. Marcus's silence was strategy. He carried every word like an arrow, but often chose not to shoot, because sometimes holding back one word is wiser than speaking 1,000. The true Stoic doesn't speak to be understood. He remains silent to think. Speaking makes you visible, but silence makes you remembered. We live to be remembered, and it is silence that leaves the deepest mark. Speaking is a reflex. Silence is discipline. Speech is born with you, but silence must be learned. When a man is angry, the first thing he does is speak. Voices rise, the heart races, and words are thrown like weapons. But when he stays silent, something changes. In that moment, the battle shifts. From the outside to within, silence means control. When anger comes, it's easy to defend yourself. But staying silent, that's winning your inner war. And not everyone can do it. It takes an unbreakable will, because anger doesn't come from the enemy outside, but from the primitive forces inside your own mind. And the only way to defeat them is not to speak, but to stay silent. Marcus Aurelius learned this on the battlefield. He fought not only with his soldiers, but with his emotions. He faced betrayal, loss, and treachery up close. Yet he never gave in to anger. He didn't shout. He didn't punish. He simply looked, thought, waited, and then he acted calmly. He who cannot rule himself can rule nothing. That sentence was the golden key to his leadership, because the one who controls his anger controls the world. An emperor's true strength lies not in his armies, but in his patience. When patience collapses, the empire falls. Today, people raise their voices in every argument, as if volume proves they're right. But remember, a loud voice is the armor of a weak mind. The confident man doesn't shout. He simply speaks, and the silent one is often the most heard. A true Stoic doesn't suppress emotions. He tames them. He guides them. Because suppression is like sweeping fire under the rug. It will burst out at the first chance. But control turns fire into a hearth. It doesn't burn you, it warms you. That's why the Stoic turns his anger into discipline, his reaction into reflection. He's not a slave to the moment. He's its observer. The silent man doesn't reject emotion. He observes it. He asks, "What am I feeling right now?" That single question disarms anger, because it shifts your focus from emotion to awareness. And awareness breaks the chains. Speaking empties you, but silence makes you accumulate. That accumulation becomes power. Silence doesn't make you a coward. It brings you back to your center. You rediscover your inner world, because when you are silent, words no longer control you. You control them. The balance returns to your hands. Noise makes you part of the crowd. Silence lifts you above it. And up there, you may seem alone, but that's where you truly meet yourself. Marcus Aurelius knew this. That's why people grew uneasy when he was quiet, because his silence was the calm before a storm. Yet that storm wasn't outside, it was within. When he ordered his mind, the world around him followed, because true order always begins inside. Try it yourself. In every moment of anger, notice your urge to speak. Don't obey it. Just wait. Those few seconds of silence can change your entire life, because in that moment, you cross from slavery to freedom. He who rules himself remains calm, even in the heart of the storm. Silence doesn't protect you from others. It protects you from yourself. And one day, you'll realize the most powerful things happen when you say nothing. The deepest change begins where words end. That's where a person truly grows. This was Marcus's wisdom, and it made him immortal, because words are forgotten, but the mark of silence never fades. If someone provokes you today, don't respond. Just smile and think, I still rule myself. Because the real battle isn't outside, it's within. And the one who wins it never shouts. He simply stays silent. Every time you open your mouth, you scatter your mind, because every word you speak carries your focus outward. Silence, on the other hand, is the net that gathers your focus back, bringing your thoughts to the center, back under your control. For Marcus Aurelius, silence was not a luxury. It was a necessity, as vital as bread and water. Every day he heard 1,000 voices, advisors, soldiers, the crowd. But among all that noise, he protected one thing, his inner voice. How? By staying silent, by thinking, by waiting for the right moment. For him, silence was mental detox. Like soil resting after war, too many words burn the mind. Silence heals it. Like a physician tending a wound, silence is the clear water of the mind. The longer it rests, the clearer it becomes. Silence is the fuel of thought. Marcus knew this. That's why every morning he sat in silence. No debates, no commands, just reflection. He purified his mind, and from that purity, his decisions emerged. We can't do that anymore, because silence feels like emptiness to us. But it isn't emptiness. It's the echo of thought, and you can only hear it when you stop speaking. The modern mind is constantly full. Notifications, conversations, arguments, they all pollute the mind. They fill it with static. And from a polluted mind, no clear thought can arise. Marcus realized this. That's why silence, to him, was cleansing. As a leader, he knew how to rule not only his empire, but also his inner world. Silence is the mirror of awareness. And it's hard to look into that mirror, because there are no masks there. No excuses, only you. But in that silence, thoughts begin to calm. And then comes a moment when even the voices inside your head fall silent. That's when you understand. Silence isn't outside, it's within. And a clear mind is sharper than any sword, because that weapon strikes the chaos within. If you can't hear your own mind, you become a prisoner of the noise of others. Don't cleanse yourself through words. Cleanse yourself through silence. Because when you fall silent, the world doesn't stop, but the chaos inside slowly withdraws. And what remains is you. Clear, calm, powerful. One day, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think twice before you speak. Is this truly worth saying? Will these words bring any benefit to others? It sounds like a simple line, but within it lies the weight of an empire. The burden carried by a man who ruled millions, because every word demands a price. Every explanation takes a piece of your mind, and every conversation steals a little of your silence's power. Marcus knew that words were never cheap. A single word could start a war. Another could break a heart. And sometimes, one sentence could change the course of an entire life. That's why speaking, to him, wasn't a reflex. It was a choice. He carried every word like a sword, sharp yet controlled. For a Stoic, words are not weapons. They are responsibilities, because every word is a debt, either to others or to yourself. Today, people speak to fill silence. When they stop talking, they feel emptiness. But that emptiness is where the mind breathes. The wise preserve that space, because within it, thought takes shape. Speaking is easy, but speaking right requires mastery. Only a skilled craftsman knows when to use the right word at the right time, because once a word leaves your mouth, it never returns. Every word you speak shapes who you are, and sometimes one sentence becomes the mirror of your character. Marcus Aurelius never argued with his generals. He listened. He didn't reply, at least not immediately, because he knew silence multiplies the value of words. The less you speak, the more you understand, and the more value you hold. Every word costs energy. Waste that energy, and your clarity fades. Your mind becomes fogged. That's why the wise speak less. Only when it's needed, only when it matters. Today, people try to define themselves through words, but the Stoic knows. You exist not when you speak, but when you can stand firm without speaking. Speech can lift you up or drain you dry. Words can carry you or drown you. Every unnecessary word is an enemy of inner peace. That's not advice. It's law. Because every needless word leaves an echo in your mind. That echo grows, disturbs you, and soon it begins to control you. Marcus weighed his words like gold. Before saying anything, he turned it over in his mind again and again. That wasn't fear. It was awareness. Because he knew. He who speaks without thinking forgets how to think altogether. And that's our problem today. We speak, but we don't think. Even when we do, we think poorly. We comment, but don't understand. We explain, but never listen. Yet the value of a word lies in its intention. A word only means something when said at the right moment. The same word, spoken at the wrong time, can carry an entirely different weight. The Stoic carries words like weapons, but keeps them sheathed. Only when necessary does he draw them, because he knows the strongest word is often the one left unspoken. He who guards his silence, guards his power, and to influence without speaking, that is true mastery. Few ever achieve it. In Marcus's time, one word could hold the power of a command, yet he forged every command in silence first, because he knew. A word not born from silence is nothing but noise, and noise is ignorance disguised as wisdom. Every word has a cost, and you pay that cost, whether you realize it or not. With one word you gain a friend, with another, an enemy. One sentence can build a life, another can burn it to ashes. So before you speak, ask yourself, is this word worth the debt? Silence costs you nothing. But a wrong word can cost you everything. Every word is a debt, and every debt is paid. Some immediately, some over a lifetime. A Stoic is one who knows his debts. He owes when he speaks, but he saves when he stays silent. And one day, that silence will move the world, because his quiet will echo longer than 1,000 speeches. Most people hide behind words. Speech becomes a defense, a mask, a shield, a way to escape. Because when the noise stops, you're left facing the most dangerous person of all, yourself. That's why silence frightens people. It doesn't shut you up, it exposes you. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He didn't use silence to run away, but to confront. Each morning, he asked himself, which of my thoughts no longer serves me today? A simple question, yet it stripped his mind bare. Silence for him was not emptiness, but reflection. It revealed the truth beneath the noise. Silence is the mirror of the mind, and looking into that mirror takes courage. Because there are no masks there, no roles, just naked thoughts. The parts of yourself you try hardest to avoid. Marcus faced that mirror daily. He dissected his thoughts, discarded the false, rebuilt the true. His silence wasn't a prison. It was a laboratory of the soul. We mistake silence for emptiness. But silence is awareness echoing back to you. The quieter you become, the clearer you hear your own truth. Most people fear that voice because it doesn't feed their desires. It reveals their fears, laziness, and flaws. So they drown it out with noise. But the Stoic listens. He doesn't run from the mirror. He faces it, not to judge, but to understand. Because understanding is the first step to freedom. Silence strips you bare, but that nakedness is liberation. In that moment, no labels remain, only truth. And once you face that truth, no external noise can shake you. Outwardly, Marcus was an emperor. Inwardly, a student. He ruled millions, but first ruled himself. He who knows himself no longer needs noise. Silence reflects inner order. What you see in that mirror, you create in your life. So today, try 1 minute of silence. Turn off everything. Ask yourself, what am I thinking and why? The answer might disturb you, but discomfort is where growth begins. Because silence doesn't leave you alone. It brings you back to yourself. Every word you speak steals a second, but every moment of silence gives you a lifetime. Time is born from silence. Each morning, the sun rises without a sound, yet commands the entire day. If you too can stay silent, you can command your world the same way. Silence is the oldest language, the most honest measure of existence. Marcus Aurelius knew this. Even in war, he chose silence. While armies marched and generals waited, he sat, wrote, and thought. Because he understood, every unsaid word becomes a thought, and every thought pulls you further from mortality. You never truly lose time. You just spend it on noise. Time flows with sound, but deepens in silence. That's the tragedy of modern man. He says, I have no time, then kills it with notifications, chatter, and noise. The truth is simple. Time sides with the silent. Silence stretches it, turns a minute into an hour, a day into a lifetime. For Marcus, time wasn't measured in words, but in thought and reflection. He lived by 3 stages: silence, thought, and action, always in that order. Because without silence, there is no clarity. And without clarity, no action. Silence is the only discipline that enlarges time. Today, people chase time with calendars and plans. But mastering time begins with mastering silence. When your mind quiets, time expands. When thoughts slow, you return to the present. And the one who lives in the present conquers time. Marcus's ritual is simple. No meetings, no noise. Just a pen, parchment, and silence. In those moments, he aligned with the universe. Living 1,000 lives in one, you can too. Spend 1 minute a day in silence. No phone, no music, just breathe. At first, it feels uncomfortable, because silence brings you back to yourself. But soon, discomfort fades, and freedom begins. After a minute of silence, your thoughts slow, your heartbeat steadies, The world seems still, but that's when you truly start moving. Silence teaches awareness, not haste. One conscious minute outweighs a wasted day, because the one who silences noise commands time itself. The one who speaks wastes time. The one who stays silent builds it. Silence doesn't lengthen time, it deepens it. Minutes don't stretch, meaning grows. And one day, you'll realize, a single silent minute is richer than a week of noise. Start tomorrow morning in silence. Give that minute to yourself, and time will begin to serve you. Some believe that a silent person is weak, but silence is the calm before the storm. You can never predict what a silent man is capable of. Marcus Aurelius learned this in battle. Before giving any command, he would remain silent and observe, because he knew leadership through shouting is born of fear. Leadership through silence is born of control. You have moments like this too. Someone provokes you. You want to prove you're right. But if you stay silent, you remain the only one who's calm. And the one who stays calm holds power. The loud one is always the weaker one. That's why he shouts. Silence is not retreat. It's strategy. True strength is not reacting. The moment you feel the need to explain yourself, you've already lost. The silence of Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome. Today, your silence should rule your mind. Every time you stay silent, your mind opens a deeper layer. Every word you hold back makes your thoughts stronger. And one day you'll understand, silence is your highest form. The word you don't say is your servant. The word you do say is your master. So today, choose silence. Don't speak. Listen, think, and remember, silence is never empty. It is the sound of mastery. If this message spoke to you, subscribe and share it with the one who needs it most.